Welcome to ETAuto, India's foremost and largest digital platform covering automotive and allied industries. Today we have Mr. Srinivasu Allaphan, Director, Sales and Marketing at JK Tyre Industries. Welcome to ETAuto.
Thank you, Sanchal. Thanks for having me over.
Thank you so much, Srinivasan, for joining us. The first question I want to understand is, how is the market? Has it responded well to the situation right now in terms that automotive in June, there have been not normal times, but the becoming better than what the industry was expecting? What is the scene in the tire segment?
Yeah, the industry is definitely picked up. If you look at it, the replacement especially is doing well. In fact, we registered a strong double-digit growth in the month of June. So overall, the quarter has been weak because April was almost near washout. But we started picking up numbers starting from May, and June we were able to post one of the highest ever numbers in the history of JK Tyres. So replacement, there is a clear revival in demand, basically owing to good rural activity, and also pent-up demand maybe is another reason why we are seeing strong demand on the replacement side. OEM continues to be a drag overall. And as you're aware, one of the key players is the MNHCV segment, which is down by about 80% in quarter one. While there is some movement in passenger vehicles and in 2-3 wheelers, these two segments on the demand side is doing pretty decently. It's just that they seem to have a little bit of a supply side issue.
But with regard to replacement from the fleet operators, and then because OEM seems to be remain weak for a couple of more weeks and months, especially for the commercial vehicle segment. But passenger vehicles are picking up. I believe the orders are good. So can you give me a breakup in terms that how the PV segment is doing and how commercial vehicle trucks and buses are faring?
See, trucks and buses, as I was just sharing, it's down by 80% on the OE side. But if you look at the replacement side, it's pretty strong. In fact, as I said, we posted one of the highest ever numbers in the month of June, and there was a strong double-digit growth. Without getting into the specific percentage, but I can tell you it's a very, very strong double-digit growth in the truck and bus segment on the replacement side. On the PV side, has been a little weak. The PV side continues to be a little passenger vehicles. There is a good pullback in 2 and 3-wheeler segment, especially from rural India. You were getting strong demand. Again, all on the replacement side. This month, in the month of July, we are seeing some revival in passenger vehicles and 2-3-wheelers, even in the OE segment size. That's the OE demand is also improving significantly in the month of July. And just to add, farm segment is doing exceedingly well. I think they are the only segment where it is really growing in quarter one as such. And most players are doing well, and it's strong both on the replacement as well as the OE side. Both the demand side is very, very strong. Again, a good, strong double-digit growth on either side.
And JK Tyre is fairly a new player in the two-wheeler segment. How has been two-wheelers so far, especially for OEMs, because production is picking up gradually?
Yeah, so two-wheeler, yes, we've been relatively new player, not too new either. We have limited capacity, almost about 6.5 lakhs is the installed capacity that we have. So we're doing decently well. We are almost at 95% of our capacity. In terms of demand, the replacement side was pretty good in May and June, but OE is just picked up. In the month of June, it is reasonably fine. We expect it to pick up going forward in quarter two. It should be even more stronger in the 2-3-wheeler space.
India is a unique market where the turnover, the money, the top line, the revenue is usually dominated by local players. The global companies are also here. The MNCs have a sizable presence, but they have not been able to carve a major market share and segment for themselves. What do you see in these times when there's a kind of a euphoria for local goods and the country basically becoming more vocal for local? I don't know how long it goes for automotive, but still there is something in terms of mood. So as we go more vocal for local, how do you see Indian tire company and company like JK harvesting that potential in India?
See, first thing is that the Indian tire industry on technology side has been fairly very strong. If you look at it, there's not very little space where they're not operating, and they're capable of providing all kinds of sizes and all kinds of applications, fulfilling all kinds of applications. To that extent, that is the key reason why they've been a strong player in spite of a lot of multinationals setting shop in India, and not just importing but also manufacturing tires in India. So I think the strong distribution network coupled with good technological capabilities is what has kept the domestic industry in good shape. And I expect with the new Atmanirbhar activity, I think it should even become better and stronger.
And how do you see restrictions on particular size of tires, especially on import? How do you see that affecting demand? Will be more impetus to local products with more restriction coming on import of tires?
Clearly, yes. In fact, there is a clear restriction on import of most sizes. There's a list of sizes, which, without specifying the exact number, which were being allowed to import by anybody, traders, or whether the OEMs were allowed to import. Now, this is just to give you a ballpark number, it was 500 plus sizes which were being allowed to import. Now, these sizes list, as I am hearing, that is going to be shrunk considerably, and very, very limited imports will be allowed. And that should put us in good stead as far as the domestic industry is concerned.
Okay, and how do you see the conditions and circumstances with regard to raw materials? It's a very touchy subject in India in terms that raw materials play a very critical role. And as a major player, are you able to capitalize on the low crude prices? Has there been benefits in terms of lower raw material costs and inputs?
Yeah, clearly, yes. The input side, the cost side, if you look at the raw material costs, have been soft for quite some time now. But generally, these are forward contracts that you get into, and the benefits come to you over the quarters. One. Second is in terms of the sourcing, I think we are fairly well placed between the domestic and the outside market players. And probably going forward, we probably need to strengthen the domestic supply side in the next few quarters.
Okay. And how do you see the global scenario that you are present in 105 countries and you have large number of global distributors also? So is the global scenario, worldwide scenario similar to India, or is it certain markets are bringing surprises and it's a mixed bag?
See, again, in the global, it's very similar where the OE demand is a lag and the
Mhm.
replacement is extremely buoyant. In the month of May, because of the ports being hugely crowded and there's a lot of clogging and chaos in the ports in terms of exports, we were facing some issues. But that's all been cleared up now completely. And hats off to the government for quickly clearing the whole thing away in spite of all the challenges that they had. So the exports in June has been extremely strong for most players. So we also demand side, of course, we have never had an issue right from May. Demand side has been very strong, especially markets like US, which is very, very strong in terms of demand. And also Latin America is also picking up very well. So across the board, the demand is strong, but US and Latin America is really strong.
With considerable kind of raw material prices not kind of easing out and not going haywire, which India typically happens, especially for natural rubber. The crude is okay. Do you see the low demand and kind of is there any cause of concern in terms of bottom lines? Is there any need to hike prices as such? Because for almost 1.5 months there was virtually zero demand and consumption. Thereafter, gradually, when the lockdown was lifted, the production started resumed, and gradually OEMs and replacement started consuming tires. So, is there any room for price hike, price change in the given scenario, and to maintain strong bottom lines?
See, I think bottom lines will clearly be impacted, no doubt, because of the volume issue.
Yeah.
Basically, it's not really the EBITDA side should be strong in the month of June, especially for most players, because if you look at the replacement demand, which was around 75% of the industry, has now
Yeah.
moved closer to 90%. So if you look at
Okay.
5,000 crores, if you were to look at 5,000 crores of demand on in the month of June, I'm giving you a ballpark figure. So almost near 90%, not exactly 90, but near 90% is coming in from replacement, which should improve the or shore up the bottom lines for most manufacturers. One. Second, the raw material side prices have been soft. That should also help. But the biggest challenge is volumes. At the end of the day, bottom line, is largely dependent on the top line. So with the, as you rightly said, in the month of April, we had a near washout. We did do some numbers, but hardly 15% of the normal business that we do, we could do in the month of April. But May onwards, we started picking up numbers. But the quarter number will be weak overall. But June is strong, and hopefully some recovery we will see, and post overall growth in the second quarter.
And are there any green shoots visible in the market in terms of recovery, demand, and what are the future orders?
So clearly, green shoot is farm sector. Amazing
Okay.
and surprising growth. Actually, as I said, strong double digit. To give you a ballpark, it's over 40-50% in terms of replacement demand, the growth. Now, if you also, the other green shoot is the truck and bus segment. Maybe,
Okay.
as I said, maybe led by some pent up demand. But then otherwise, also, we're seeing it strong for the third month in a row now. Last month was an all-time high figure that we registered in the history of JK Tyres.
All-time high, say you're with regard to farm equipment or with...
Truck and bus and farm both.
Okay. And surely your Q1 sales should be nice. I think the revenues and top line should be healthy. Minus the April.
We were absent for the entire month of April. So
yeah.
Need to water that is a big significant amount.
I just want to ask something because I'm very intrigued about the way you have promoted motorsports in India. You're the pioneers in terms of making motorsports such a legend, whatever scope has it in India. How do you see that propelling your brand? How you have been able to leverage that over the years? Because you have been the biggest supporter JK has, the way it has helped motorsports develop in India, the kind of money you have poured in, the kind of support as a brand, as a company you have done is unparalleled. Nobody comes close to it. So how has motorsports propelled JK Tyre and how you have been able to leverage that?
See, motorsports has been in our blood for ages now.
Yeah.
And our chairman has been very passionate about motorsports.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just getting brand benefits. It goes beyond that as far as he's concerned. Now, as far as brand leverage, clearly it helps you in building premiumness and connecting with the youth in a significant manner. It also helps in terms of testing and checking out, and helps on the technology side too, in understanding, because it's really you're pushing your limits in motorsports. So it does help us in significant ways, not just for the brand, but from the technology side too.
And you have been a super brand for 7 years, and it's been a long journey. But one thing, what do you see the distinct edge you have? You were the pioneers in launching radial truck and bus tires, and since then it's been a very slow and arduous journey of converting the bias and the nylon tires to radials. But now there's a sizable number. So I just want to understand the transformation of tire market. Has you been able to capitalize on the transformation and better spending power of Indian customers in today times? People are buying more SUVs. There's a demand for more kind of premium cars, sedans, bigger cars. Luxury car market is not very big, but it has a sizable, a very steady presence in India. So how do we leverage the growth of this customer spending as well as highly aspirational?
So I'll start by sharing something with you that we just completed production of 20 million TBR tires, which is truck and bus radial tires, which is the first company in India to complete that mark of 20 million tires to grow tires. So if you look at it, radialization has been working for quite some time now. In the year 1999, we've been piloting it from quite before, but 99, we made a significant launch of TBR radial tires in the truck and bus segment. And it took us almost close to, in 2016, which is about 11 years, we could do, almost 11 years, we could do the 10th million. And after that, in less than 4 years, we have done the next 10 million. And going forward, hopefully, the next 2.5 years, we should clock the next 10 million and move to 30 million. So it's not just the passenger side, the commercial side is also seeing the benefits of radial, clearly. And currently, it's at about 50 to 55% on the commercial side. Passenger vehicle bias is passé now. 98% of the passenger vehicle demand is clearly radial now. There's hardly any bias being used, excepting some old Jeeps in hill stations who are very passionate with their old tires, use them. Otherwise, it's all radial in the passenger vehicle segment. Two-wheeler radial is picking up. Two-wheeler is a mixture of both. So we are seeing good traction in the two-wheeler segment, also for radial tires currently, especially the 150cc segment and above is looking at radial tires. So we've been leveraging our technology on not just the passenger and two-wheeler, but even on the truck and bus segment. And we've been pioneers, we've been leaders, not just thought leaders, but even on numbers, we've been leaders in that.
Safety is a very critical aspect in motoring right now because India has the largest number of deaths happening in motorized accidents. There have been huge impetus coming from government with regard to safety. We have new crash test norms. ABS is becoming standard across four-wheelers, two-wheelers. Lighting is improving. But the biggest factor as a motoring journalist, I feel tires is the biggest factor, is the biggest, highest safety quotient in an automotive, in a new car or a truck, in any, because the only contact with the surface is tires. How do you see the safety quotient going ahead in terms of technology, and how do you enhance safety in tires? What are the technology? What's the customer expectations, feedbacks? You see, what changes do you see, especially with regard to safety in India?
See, clearly, as you rightly say, safety is paramount. There's no second thoughts to it. And I think we at JK have been a lot, we have pioneered a lot of things. And one clearly is what we now launched in the recent Auto Expo as the smart tire.
Yeah.
If you look at it, smart tire is significant. USP of a smart tire is safety. It reads your tire temperature, it tells you your air pressure, and helps you drive safely. So this is the one of the key purposes, apart obviously from improving the life of the tire, as they call the mileage of the tire. So significant part of safety is being addressed through what we call a smart tire. So I think going forward, there will be being sold in India will be a smart tire. Will talk to you, connect to you. Even our smart tire will talk to you through your phone app, which will tell you that your temperature is high, so please slow down. If your air pressure is low, it will tell you. Some high-end cars do have it already being built into the dash, but in our case, it is through an app which you've connected, and we are betting big on this smart tire.
Okay. And if you're making smart tires, so you normally need to also change your manufacturing systems and all. So I just want to ask, how has manufacturing been so far in terms? I know you take care more of marketing sales, but still, marketing sales will only survive and thrive when you have production and manufacturing happening. So how you see, how has been the manufacturing so far? Has been there any impediments? How manufacturing has gone? Is it smooth, seamless?
See, there are challenges in the manufacturing side, right?
Okay.
In the month of April, we were almost virtually closed. So we started off sometime late April gradually, and we are operating mostly at 50-60% of our capacity in
Okay.
terms of manpower. But
Okay.
we're trying to catch up on the overall capacity. We are reaching, thanks to all the plant heads, we're reaching almost 75-80%
Okay.
by stretching our working hours, and but at the same time doing it very cautiously, so that the workers' health is of paramount importance to us. So we have doctors, we have clear SOP, standard operating procedures in every plant. There is zoning that we have done in our plants, so that the people don't move from one zone to another unnecessarily infecting people, just in case they have a problem. So a lot of precautions have been put in place, and we fortunately, touch wood, we have not had much of a problem. In the last 1 month, the manufacturing is fairly smooth. There was no need for us to shut down any of the plants across the country. We've been running smoothly, but with limited manpower. Yes.
So in Mexico too, your manufacturing has resumed. What's the status of the Mexico plants?
Mexico has been pretty strict on the lockdown. They've not been allowing the resumption. This month, we'll be resuming operations in Mexico. Last month, we couldn't do it because towards the fag end of last month, I think we started trial productions. So we should be able to get back to normalcy to some extent in the month of July.
This is a unique fiscal year that the first day of the fiscal, everything was closed and continued for couple of days, and the start has not been good. But how do you see 2021 fiscal year panning out for the tire industry?
See, I'll talk about the auto industry first. The outlook from CM is that it'll be a -20 to -25 situation, right? The Atma figures give out anywhere between 75 to 80% of normal business, which is -15 to -25. So my personal take, and this is my personal view, we should be somewhere between 85 to 90% to be very narrow band. So we should be able to, the industry should be able to deliver 85 to 90% of normal business of last year.
Okay, that's fairly encouraging in the given scenario that happens, and that also brings me to my last question. How do you see the festive period? What are your dealers? What are your distributors saying? Because OEMs are picking up, because Maruti has asked all its suppliers, vendors to kind of brace up for better days ahead. How do you see the market going on, especially for the festive period coming ahead?
It should be good. See, in our case, the replacement demand has come back to us.
Okay.
So we are just hoping and waiting for the OEM players to get back on stream. So
Okay.
if the OEM joins the game or the race, so overall our numbers will show up significantly and help improve our bottom lines and top line clearly.
One question which everybody asks, and I also need to ask, is how the digitalization happening? Is digital propelling sales? What are your initiatives with regard to digitalization? Or maybe if you are giving any kind of lease operations, lease of tires, what initiatives COVID has allowed you to begin?
See, digitalization has been there for some time now, even pre-COVID. It's only gained momentum in the COVID era significantly. Right? Zoom calls were a way of life in our company even well before COVID. So our calls with zonal heads or regional heads were always happening on Zoom. It's just that we were doing it from office. Now we're doing it from home. That's the only difference post-COVID. So there's one thing which interesting which we're doing from a customer point of view is that especially we started this sometime in March and we had implemented it, is the digital claims where we're using artificial machine learning to process claims. So every time, let's say you have a failure in your tire or a problem in your tire, you go to a dealer, tire dealer. He just takes pictures of that and sends it to a help desk. And the help desk, there is machine learning, which analyzes, we have fed in thousands of complaints and issues there, which analyzes and gives you a feedback instantaneously as to whether it's a right claim or a wrong claim. So what was taking 3 days earlier is getting done in less than 3 hours now. So it helps improve the customer experience significantly and provides confidence to channel partners that the customer doesn't have to wait. He can just have a cup of coffee and they will tell him whether the claim is right or it's wrong, and they'll be able to take care of him immediately. That's one. Otherwise, there's several other initiatives. We have a clear digital roadmap in place.
Okay.
And there are several action areas that we're looking at and working with several agencies to improve our digital roadmap as such going forward. So it's an ongoing process. I think it complements both the brick and mortar stores. Even in the brick and mortar stores today, if you want to enhance the imagery, you need to have a significant part of it as digital. So it complements each other very well if you look at it. Maybe in some of the chat with you, I'll share with you the digital is a full 1 hour subject.
Okay. Thank you so much for talking to ETAuto. I wish you great times, and we hope that the great festive period is ahead, brings great opportunity, revenue, sales, and opportunity in terms of turning around and reviving the sentiments in the market.
Thank you. We need all your wishes.